8/26/2024. We've been doing up to this point full chapters at a time, but they've only been 5 verses long. This chapter, I believe, is over 12. So we're going to divide it up and read the first couple of verses out of chapter 3, Speaking of Control. Verse 1. In warfare, a general's regulations must be foremost in controlling an army. When this is the case, then the soldiers will not be unruly, and only when the soldiers are not unruly will the army come into shape. There are none in the realm of capable of facing an army in which 100 can fight as one when the battle drums sound, where 1,000 can fight as one when plunging into battle to break an enemy formation, and where 10,000 can all raise their blades as one to topple an army and kill its general. 2. In ancient times, foot soldiers were divided into squadrons of 5 and 10, and chariots were arranged into units of 25. When the gong sounded the attack and the banners directed the army forward, without exception, the first over the enemy's battlement would be those whose strength was greatest. And without exception, these same soldiers would be the first to perish in battle. Interesting, the ones with the greatest strength were also the ones to perish first. Verse 3. To cost your enemy 1 man, but lose 100 of your own in doing so, is to benefit your enemy at great cost to yourself. Even the greatest generals of our generation have been unable to avoid this. If the army divides and flees home, or flees after defeat in battle, you will suffer great injury as a result of retreating. Even the greatest generals of our generation have been incapable of avoiding this. Bows and arrows are used to kill men beyond 100 paces. Spears and halberds are what are used to kill men within 50 paces. When the general sounds the drums to advance, but the soldiers and their commanders are immersed in the din of battle, clutching their halberds among snapped arrows and broken spears, and instead retreat and disperse to preserve their own lives, this is defeating yourself from within. Even the greatest generals of our generation have been incapable of avoiding this. If the soldiers lose their squads of 5 and 10 and the chariots lose their units, then even the best troops will forsake the general and flee, and the rank and file soldiers will also flee. Even the greatest generals of our generation have been incapable of avoiding this. If a general can avoid these 4 situations, then he will scale even the highest walls, traverse even the deepest moats, and break even the strongest enemy formations. If he cannot, then he can no more attain victory than one can traverse the Yangtze, having lost one's oars. And the Yangtze is a very big river, and without having your oars, it's like an impossible fight. And so to say that the generals who succeed are the generals who avoid these 4 things, right? Keep your army together at all costs. Because if your men start fleeing, if they have any lack of faith in you, then that's what they're going to do. They're going to flee because they're not going to believe that your army can achieve victory. And that's why he says even the strongest will flee, because the strongest typically are the smartest as well in many cases in those times. And so if they saw something wrong or if they feared for their lives, they were thinking like Sun Tzu thinks. It's better to live to fight another day and retreat and regroup than it is to perish and die today under the command of a bad general. So as you move forward, as we move forward, as we continue climbing the hill, as we continue standing tall, let's remember that if troops are continuing to flee, maybe it's time to change our leadership style and bolster some kind of initiative within our troops.